Welcome back, folks. Well, I think we got our flickering issue resolved. We just did a short video on our Hurstolds cold start, and it looks like what we had were corrupted SD cards in our GoPro camera. So the Hurstolds, there was no flickering on that video that we just did here about 30 minutes ago. So hopefully it's all resolved. Now, back to the Mustang, Dakota Digital Gauge installation part 2. So now we're about to get this thing up in the air, and we're going to install our components from Dakota Digital. Remember, we're not going to need that speedometer cable, that big stiff thing going in there. This is going to go into the transmission, and this is the transducer, I think is basically what this is. And then this is the wiring harness, and we'll run it up through the transmission, or through where the original cable went through, and get it hooked up on our box. So let's get this thing installed. All right, we removed that speedometer cable. Now we're going to install part of the transducer. So it's this little piece right here. It comes with your Dakota Digital. And just simply goes in right here. And let's get that bolt. Looks like I'm going to need a longer bolt than the one that came with the transmission. But let's see. This has got to go all the way up in there. So let's see. Yeah. Wait a minute. Guess what I'm forgetting, folks? Especially for people like, dumbass, you should have put the gear on. Yeah, let's get that gear on. There's a little O-ring in there. Make sure you get that O-ring in there past here. I think it keeps it fluid from coming out. So all right, now I got my head back where it belongs. I put some, this is transmission petroleum jelly. It's made for transmissions. It's like a Vaseline, but it's red. And I just put some of that on, put the clip on, and I put some on my O-ring here. So let's see if this thing is going to fit in there now. Okay, so this bracket, which it's the way it's designed, it's not quite letting my O-ring set in where it belongs. This is sticking out too far. So can I give you an example? Show you on the other transmission, which is the same. This is the old T5, but it's the same setup. See, that O-ring is just barely in there. So what I'm going to do, because once I lock this down, yeah, I don't like that. So I am going to just ever so slightly trim some right off here, just enough, because I just want this O-ring to be inside that bore, and I want to know that this is fully engaged with my gear inside the transmission. Okay, I did have to shave this down quite a ways, because this bracket wouldn't let this O-ring, it wouldn't slide all the way in. So obviously I know the gear wasn't fully engaged into the little speedo gear on the transmission, but you can see the shoulder, the O-ring was still sticking outside the transmission. But now just shaved it down just enough, and I got another longer bolt. I think it's a 1/4-20. So you'll feel it, and it snap. You can feel it snap in like it's supposed to. So now I go in, put this in here. See, it just went in like it's supposed to. Now it's where it's supposed to be. Now I finagle my fat fingers in here. Yeah, the other bolt was way too short. It wasn't gonna be long enough. But this one seems to be long enough. All right. We'll get this thing started, and then we'll put the transducer on. I can get this started. If I can get my box in. It's a hex-headed bolt. Now, when I got to put this transducer in, you know, pilot the little cable in. Well, that's fine. Pretty close quarters with this new cross member, the TKX. But look at this. I'm going to get down so far, and then I'm gonna bottom out on that bolt. So I think I may have a solution for this, but you know, like I said, you shouldn't have to be doing this. This is just some constructive criticism for Dakota Digital provide, you know, regarding that clamp and that bolt. So let me get that bolt out and let me show you what I've got right here. I'm going to use a socket head bolt in place. So let me get that out. Let me get the socket head bolt. It's a 1/4 20. Let me get it in here and let's see if this helps. Just barely. Look at that. It's clearing. Look at that. All right, now I get another problem. We've got, look how close this is to our cross member. Oh boy, jeez. I wonder if they make an adapter for this. They're gonna have to make an adapter because see, it's gonna hit the cross member here. I need a 90-degree adapter for this, really. Even, no matter which way I turn this, it's going to, I mean, there's no way it's going to go on right now. I can try to take this, of course, back off, but I don't think I'll be able to, I don't think even if I take this off and put this on, that I can have enough room to get it in there. Jeez Maurice. Okay, so we did run into a showstopper. I thought I had some momentum going when using grinding the little tab down and then using the socket cap screw. So that all worked and it's fine, but this being a Tramac conversion for TKX, you know, they didn't plan so this for this type of cross member. So as you can see, our beefed up cross member for this TKX, there's no way this is going on there. So what I need is a 90-degree adapter of some sort. Instead of it being straight like this, I need to come off obviously a 90-degree. I know there's a solution for this, but I'm not going to start grinding and half-assing stuff. Okay, so the right thing to do is to use the patience. Call Dakota Digital tomorrow. Today's Sunday. Obviously, they're closed. We'll get past this. There's other things we can be doing to the car, but this is not Dakota Digital's fault. They made this for a 66 Mustang with a factory 4-speed or a C4. Nothing's anybody's fault. It's just something you got to work through. So I'll call them tomorrow, but we're going to get back onto, let's get on the gas tank, programming that gas tank, telling Dakota Digital what we have, and we'll go from there. So just hold on a second. Okay, now we've got to wire in our switch. Basically, this is what allows us to program the Dakota Digital. It's how we talk to it. So it's got a bracket. Now I've got to figure out where we want to mount this, and then the wiring part is easy. But this is Barry's car, and I don't want this, and I know he doesn't want this in some place where it looks tacky. So where can I mount this? Oh, I think I can mount it. Actually, yeah. I think it's going to be out of the way if I get somewhere over in here. Okay, all right. Okay, yeah, I think Barry probably good with that. Actually, if I can find some existing holes, that's what I'm going to do. So let's check, see where we can get this mounted. That's pretty damn tight. Now we have our switch hooked up, so now we can talk to the Dakota Digital to start programming. Again, our speedometer situation, we're going to have to get an adapter. We will have to calibrate that, but right now, let's try to calibrate the gas tank and maybe some of the lighting in the Dakota Digital. So here we go. All right, now that we've got Barry's dim adjustment, this is DIM-1 on the dimming kit from Dakota Digital that goes with the VFD system. So now we've got the dimmer and the switch to talk to the Dakota Digital, but I wired this kind of like I did on the Charger and I'm gonna do on my Cuda you know, when you look, if you look at it right now, it's really, even in the daytime, you know, I like to see the gauges really well, and I like them lit up. So I went from I have a 12 volt switched, and I went to dim. This is up to Barry if he doesn't like it or not. It's totally up to him, but I got a feeling when he turns the key on, whether it's day or night, he wants to see his gauges. Now, here's our dim switch right here, or excuse me, the potentiometer is basically what it is. See here, now we can dim them at night. Barry can dim these down how he wants them. And then daytime, he wants them up. Look at there. There they are. Beautiful. Beautiful. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk to Dakota Digital here in a second and see if we can get some accuracy set up on this fuel gauge. So here we go. All right, here we go. We're going to start with fuel setup. So I'm going to turn on the key and press and hold switch 1 while turning the key on. So let's hold this and let's turn the key on. All right, it's in setup mode. Now if you look at my setup speed, so right here it's already saying setup speed no. I think what I want to do now is I've got to switch where it goes to, let's see if it's switched to, okay, set up tack. I do want to set up the tack, but let's go to the gas first. There we go. Now I think press and hold, press and release until set up fuel. There everything's displayed. Press and hold switch 1 until fuel sender is displayed. So let's do that. All right, fuel sender. Okay. Press and release switch 1 until fuel test is displayed. All right, let's do that. All right, sender switch 33. Let's see. Okay, so here on our sender types, we have, now this is a Holley setup, but I bought it for Ford. So let's try Ford 20, let's see, no, earlier. Ford 73 through 10, earlier, late 80s. Let's try that one. So it wants me to, all right, let's go to bus 63 vet. Okay, see it's going input 4, input 17, custom, GM 30, GM 90, GM 250. All right, F10. Let's see. Yeah, F10. Let's try that one. So F10. Okay. I pressed and held switch 1, and now it's going back to fuel custom. Nope, don't want fuel test. All right, done. All right, done. Okay. I'm going to turn, let's see. I'm going to turn the key off because it's still showing 0 or empty on the fuel level. So let's see. I think I want to turn everything, set up BIM, set up displays, set up info, set up odometer, set up speed, tack. Okay. Let's see. All right, I'm going to try this again. Set up fuel. All right, fuel sender. I'm going to go for the F10. I'm going to do fuel test. All right, test fuel 30 ohms. Let's see. No, I need 73 ohms. Wow, it's testing it. Let's see. It's testing temp. So now it's showing I have a half a tank of fuel. The other gauge, when I had it set up, it was between 1/4 and 1/2. So really what I need to do is I need to fill this thing up with fuel and see where it goes from there. All right, so I just put 5 gallons of fuel in it, and you come over here and check out. I do not think it's, I think I'm gonna guess, I think we're off a little bit by about 1/4 of a tank. So I'm gonna get another 5 gallons put in this thing, and now we can fine tune it. We know everything's working now. Again, the last thing we have to do is I need to address the blinkers. So you can hear the flasher. The flasher is working. But after I was talking to Barry yesterday, it has LED tail lights. And I forgot, when you have LED tail lights, it will affect these things sometimes. So I think there's a different flasher or something we need to get. I'll get with Dakota Digital on that. The other thing is we need to get an adapter or solve our speedometer situation. I need a 90-degree adapter. There's a solution for it. It's if I have to, I can run it like we did on the Charger on the other side. They make an adapter for that on the TKX. Not a big deal. So I'm very excited. This car is getting close to being done. We had found on the distribution block, we found that there was a one fitting that I could go about half a turn. Where I think we were on our distribution block, I think we went half a turn on one of the lines going in there, and Trish actually found it. She got better eyesight than me. It was just barely pulling up around that top fitting. We bled the brakes again today, and I think our brakes are actually much better now. So the car is coming around, running fantastic. I have to business trip tomorrow, but we're going to do a follow-up video once the speedometer cable situation is resolved. This thing has really been easier than the Charger was. It's gone along really well. We've got Barry's dimming switch in. I mean, it's fantastic. You're going to have a blast with this car, man. So if you haven't already, and also our flickering, I think, hopefully is resolved now, the video flickering with our SD cards. So if you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe. It's been a great productive day today, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody.